Hey everyone, welcome back to Almost Sideways, a place for movie conversation. My name is Adam, and today's conversation is going to be a film from 1990 celebrating its 35th anniversary, directed by Kathryn Bigelow, and stars Jamie Lee Curtis, and it's called Blue Steel. I came across this movie randomly on Amazon Prime. I was going through and wanted to look for something I hadn't watched before, and I came across this poster here, and it looked rather interesting. You can check the poster out right above my left shoulder there. Caught my eye, caught my attention, and I just read the synopsis and immediately was like, let's check it out. Jamie Lee Curtis is a cop. We got to talk about it. So, if you've never watched this movie before, this movie does follow Jamie Lee Curtis. She plays Megan Turner here, who has recently graduated the police academy and is now walking the streets of New York with her partner, and she's ready to chart her police journey here. And she's not doesn't have the approval of her parents, however, but she's doing it because of her mother, and we find that kind of relationship story there. They're pretty interesting there too. But essentially, she is with her partner on doing a beat. They stop off for drinks and use the restroom. She looks across the way, and there is a guy holding up this grocery store at gunpoint. The guy who's holding up the grocery store is played by Tom Sizemore, a very young Tom Sizemore. So it was really cool to see him pop up in this movie. I had no idea he was popping up here. So it was kind of cool to see. I love watching old movies you've never seen and you don't even know who's in this film. So when they pop up, it's like, oh, I remember that guy. But anyway, we see Tom Sizemore holding up this grocery store. So Jamie Lee Curtis goes into it and needs to help these people and make sure no one gets hurt here. And so eventually she does gun this gunman down, and the gun disappears because there's a guy in the grocery store that does take one of the people, like the bystanders, takes the gun. And that's where the other subplot comes into. So with the gun missing, this character Megan is has to be suspended because did she kill this out of police brutality? I think that's kind of an interesting way, especially an early 90s film talking about police brutality and if we do anything right here. But this movie becomes something a little bit more. It becomes like a kind of a psychopathic, cat and mouse game, because there's this guy who has this mysterious gun is going around and killing random people there, and of course is framing Megan possibly for these killings. First off, Kathryn Bigelow, we got to talk about her filmography here. She of course is best director for The Hurt Locker, and she's just a fantastic job, but she's really known for these really fun action movies. One of my favorite action movies she's ever directed was one of the first films I've ever watched from her, and that is Point Break, which came out a year after Blue Steel here, and it's one I probably will be doing in daily notes. I absolutely love Blue Steel, and I absolutely do love Point Break, so that's one of my favorite action movies there. And I think she does a really great job of capturing some really gritty action shootouts, and she does a really good job creating these fun moments. There's a couple other movies too. Zero Dark 30 was another one that she got as critically acclaimed for, and a movie called Detroit that I've seen. But a couple other ones here. Strange Days came out in 1995, which I know people do love here. In a movie from 1987, which I've never watched, but I've always been intrigued by. It's called Near Dark. I heard great things about that movie and that the overtop nature of that film that she does. So she's a very acclaimed director, and she does a really good job with this movie. A movie that I didn't even know she directed until I came across it on the Amazon Prime. And really pleasantly surprised by this sequence. There's really fun action set pieces here. She has Jamie Lee Curtis as the lead, which is awesome, which I don't think at this time, again, very novice on her filmography before this film. So I'm not sure if she had directed any other movies that had a strong female character up to that point, but having that, it's kind of groundbreaking in its own right, and having Jamie Lee Curtis, who is known for Laurie Strode there too, getting out to expand a little bit more of her filmography is fascinating. Also, it has some other actors that do pop up. I did mention, like Tom Sizemore, but also Ron Silver pops up as this mysterious guy. I don't want to go into his character too much, but he does a really good job as this stockbroker character who also is going through some stuff here with his character. He's a very kind of creepy character once you start seeing what he's doing. Clancy Brown shows up, Elizabeth Pena, Louis Fletcher, Philip Bosco, Kevin Dunn, which he's like a '90s staple. A young Richard Jenkins as a sleazy kind of a public defender, not public defender, but a lawyer character there. For one of the characters there is awesome. A lot of familiar faces do pop up here, and when they do pop up, it's like kind of crazy to see when like these recognizable faces pop up. I think the one that gets the most screen time here is Clancy Brown. There is kind of become a partnership to try to track down what this actual killer is doing out there, and he does team up with Jamie Lee Curtis here. There's an interesting like sex scene that does happen between these two characters. Two actors I would never thought they would ever have a sex scene. They do, and then stuff goes down right after it. I just will say that. This is a very entertaining watch. It's definitely very 90s. It has a 90s soundtrack, 90s score, directed by a really great director, Kathryn Bigelow, in a very early work here, but she's really honing her craft, showing what she's able to take from here, telling a cop story, and she flips it in 1991 with telling a kind of a thief cop and a different type of cop story in Point Break. So she does a really great job directing these really kind of police procedurals that are just entertaining and fun, and capture some really cool police work and some other stuff like the whole backstory with like police brutality in this shooting that didn't take place, kind of a police drama that happens in Blue Steel is kind of fascinating stuff. I was thoroughly entertained by this movie. I'm 3 stars out of 4 here. Again, a movie that I feel like is criminally underwatched because I don't hear anybody talking about this movie. And it's celebrating its 35th anniversary. So I wanted to come up here and talk about it and share some life and love for a film that probably isn't getting talked about. It is streaming for free on Amazon Prime. So make sure you guys go give this a watch. And let me know in the comment section down below if you have seen this or if you're going to talk about it. Let me know down there and we can have a cool conversation about Blue Steel. Again, thank you guys so much for stopping by the channel. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe if you loved this video. My name is Adam. Until next time, I will see you in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching.